What the fuck is up, Sod and Superstars? Last week we covered the 5 biggest shitties of 2018 in the video game world. Today we're looking at the 5 best games of 2018. It's the Moisties, bitch. We're back at it again, so let's just go ahead and start this right now. I hope you've got your condom on. Number 5, Return of the Obra Dinn. It takes only a quick glance at this game to immediately stimulate your wiener, because the art style is absolutely beautiful. Catching even just a glimpse, the slightest sneak peek from like the fucking lock screen of your phone, you'd immediately say, wow. It's like Harry Potter's Chamber of Secrets where you don't look at the basilisk because you'll turn to stone. Well, in this case, the basilisk is the art style and you want to be fucking staring at that thing constantly because it'll make you ejaculate. And the gameplay here is like nothing I've ever played before. It puts you in the role of a man trying to solve the mystery as to what happened on the Obra Dinn, which is a ship. When I first went into the game, I was thinking it'd be about pirates and like Jack Sparrow comes out of nowhere and, farts and somehow the day is saved. But it's a really interesting story that's a lot of fun to piece together. It's all about figuring out what happened to each and every person aboard the Obra Dinn. It's got monsters, demons, conflict amongst each other, and it's a really great story to watch unfold. And oftentimes you really have to put in your thinking butt plug in order to solve some of the puzzles and piece together what happened to certain crew members, because a lot of times you have to think pretty obtuse and take little context clues from other parts of the other passengers' stories. It's really well done. It doesn't just tell you what happened to them. You have to go out of your way and solve it the same way a fucking Sherlock Holmes would. It's really well done. It's a lot of fun. Number 4, Detroit Become Human. By far David Cage's best work. This game has so many fucking paths that you could go down throughout the story. It is incredible. I was expecting another pretty lackluster narrative-driven game, but this one blew me away. It tells a fantastic story with an incredible cast of characters. There's very few characters in here you won't care about. Like, there's some little ass dusters you won't give a shit about. But for the most part, every character you're gonna have some type of investment in. It's a very fucking good story, really well written, and every character is pretty fleshed out. And it really does give you a plethora of options to choose. So it really feels like you're crafting your own experience that's going to be entirely unique from someone else's playthrough. And that's a really special thing because oftentimes in games like the Telltale series, the choices are always going to ultimately lead to the same outcome for the most part, say for a couple details like, my friend Rick Plubins chose to drink Coke, but at that point I chose to drink the glass of raw sewage, so now Clementine threw up in my playthrough, but she did not throw up in his playthrough, and we still end up at the same area. In this game, that doesn't happen. You can completely end a chapter almost immediately because you chose something that ended it soon. You chose something like an easy way out, and then you don't get a whole lot else. You don't get a whole lot of the story. You can have characters die off early, and you don't get to see them at the end of the game. There's just so much that can happen in Detroit Become Human and change the narrative in a pretty big way. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't think there's a single human being that was watching this, or that currently exists in this corporeal dimension, that would watch a top 5 2018 games list and not expect Red Dead to be towards the top. And there's a reason for that. The game is absolutely extraordinary. It's very innovative, even to a fault at points. The game pushes boundaries of what video games are capable of, and it really goes above and beyond what most people even come to expect from the medium. The game is impressive. From the music, the sound, the world, the characters, the acting, the story, it is all just at the top level of video games. It is just absolutely amazing. I don't really need to even tell you why it's here or why it's on the list or why it's such a good game, because if you even type in the first letter of this title, R, you're going to get Red Dead Redemption 2, why it's the best game human beings have ever shit out in their entire existence on this planet. How Red Dead Redemption 2 made my parents get back together. Everyone online has been singing the praises of this game for a good while now, and for good reason. The game is remarkable. Moving on to number 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to me is the best in the series, and that's not easy to say since I am a huge Melee fan who played the fuck out of Melee. Albeit not at the highest level. I wasn't going to big tournaments and global world championships for Smash Melee with a fucking sweatband, G Fuel IV, and Gunner gaming glasses, but I did play a lot of it, and I would consider myself above the average troglodyte when it comes to Smash Melee. So saying Ultimate is better than Melee is a big statement coming from me, but I think it truly deserves it. This game delivers everything you would want from Smash. It combines all of the best parts of every Smash game in my opinion, including every single character that's ever been in it, which is super fucking cool to see. And like I said in the moist meter for this game is not as fast or technical as Melee, but I don't mind that at all. I'm sorry for the lack of professionalism. I just got a call from Post Malone begging to host this year's top 5 games of 2018 for the Moisties, but unfortunately, as you can see, Post Malone, it's a little too late. But feel free to reach out to me on Twitter and perhaps we can work on scheduling it for the next Moisties. Now, I'd like to reiterate this game is absolutely outstanding, but I'm going to throw a complaint in there right now, which I think is a little out of character for a best games list, but I can't bitch and whine about this enough. Nintendo, stop living in the fucking 1980s with your primitive, archaic, online compatibility design. Holy shit. Fix your fucking network. The online is insufferable at times when it comes to lag, and it's just so bad. Paying $20 a year for peer-to-peer connection that's just so haphazardly thrown together and so full of shit. No Ethernet port built into the fucking machine. It is so goddamn awful. Fix your shit, Nintendo. God, this game would be so much better if the online functioned consistently well instead of sucking shit half the time. Great game though. Easily deserving of the number 2 spot, but fuck you, Nintendo, for your awful online services. Moving on to number 1, God of War. A game that on paper seems like a really ill-advised idea to completely change the formula of an established successful franchise, but that's exactly what this game did. It completely butt-fucked everything we thought we knew about God of War, changed the gameplay, changed the formula and the storytelling in a big way, not just subtle changes, completely different from the other entries into the series. And it did it so well. Everything just worked. The gameplay was satisfying. I do believe some of the enemies got pretty repetitive, but it was always fun to just pummel those bitches. Every boss encounter was pretty fucking nice for the most part. Beautiful to look at. A fantastic narrative with some unforgettable scenes like that first boss fight. Holy shit. That first boss fight was perhaps the single best elite gamer moment of 2018. That entire first encounter was just so well done and super fun to play. Full throttle, nuts to butts, right out the get-go of the game. It was fantastic. The perfect way to start that game. And not only does the game tell a fantastic narrative with some really enjoyable gameplay, it has an incredible soundtrack. A really fucking good soundtrack that I enjoyed start to finish. There really just weren't any awful moments in God of War. There was nothing bad. There were some tedious parts for sure, but the game, for the most part, was a beautiful experience and a super unique, memorable one that I cannot believe came from the God of War franchise. Which I do like God of War games, the previous ones, but this one is so far above them, it's wild now. Absolutely great game, easily deserving of the top spot on the Moisties. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to the Moisties, and remember, dreams can be more than just dreams. They can be wet dreams. Take it easy, everyone. See ya. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Moisties. Unfortunately, Jack Black wasn't available to host, so instead it's me, Charlie, and today we're looking at the 5 best games of 2019. Now, I know the moist meter has become synonymous with real tough grading, like that fucking teacher that'll beat your ass and give you an F because you didn't put up a fight. But there is a lot of games, and a lot of movies as well, that we find to be truly extraordinary. We're tough because we want things to be good and we want them to improve. So let's hit it and shit it. Number 5, Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is like no other game out there. It is truly, by all definitions, a unique game. That's a title that gets tossed around a lot, but Outer Wilds absolutely deserves that nomenclature because Outer Wilds does what pretty much no other game does. It fucking challenges the player to constantly be thinking. It's a game where the core mechanic involves getting yourself totally immersed in a beautiful system, these incredible worlds, and piecing together lore. And using that lore and all the new information that you find about all of these planets, who inhabited them, using all of that to solve puzzles and get your character progressing in the story and solving the dilemma that you find yourself in. It's a very slow game that's obviously not going to be for everyone, but if you can get yourself lost in the universe here, you're going to be rewarded with some incredible decisions, decisions being the wrong word, incredible writing decisions that were made, some fucking fantastic lore, beautiful planets that are a joy to explore and get lost in. It never really gets frustrating to get lost, by the way, because it's constantly just feeling like it's leading to a bigger eureka moment where you solve a puzzle or you use your gamer galaxy brain intelligence to, piece together these things that are happening that you're learning about. and it feels like everything is just so finely crafted with such attention to detail down to the very last rock. Like everything has a deeper meaning. You'll start looking at everything through the eyes of like a pretentious artist, the kind of people that look at a banana taped to a wall and say, yeah, I'll pay 150 grand for that. It means something impressive, I'm sure. Like in this game, if you see 6 rocks stacked in a formation that looks like an alligator, that might mean something potentially. Like there's just so much shit to find, discover, and explore that it leads itself to just being this incredible experience. Outer Wilds absolutely deserves the 5th spot on the list. Number 4, we have a game that's going to surprise a lot of you in its presence on this list, given how much shit I've talked about it. It's Apex Legends. Now, I've talked a lot of shit about Apex Legends, and it's because I love the fucking game so much. It was my favorite FPS game in years, but post-launch, they let it stagnate and die for like the better part of 5 months, where the only changes they'd make were one extra bullet in a magazine somewhere. We removed one tree next to the bunker to help with balancing issues. These trivial fucking garbage changes, and it just made the game get so stale and repetitive and just, for me, just fade out. But it's hard to not look back on Apex Legends positively with the 800 or so hours I put into it in the first 2 or 3 months of its presence in the Battle Royale genre. Apex Legends was a game that came into a genre I was already getting tired of, a genre that was getting oversaturated and stale, and it fucking came in and it breathed some new life into it. And the developers, in their defense, Respawn, has been putting more effort into keeping Apex fresh and updated, so I do respect that. They've been making a lot of recent efforts there. But what I'm saying is, initially it didn't have that. But the first 3 or so months, I was so engrossed in this game. I was playing it constantly. I wanted to be competitive. I wanted to be the best. And god damn it, I was so fucking close. I'm like your dad's friend that comes over and tells you about the time that he almost went to the NFL. That was me with Apex. I almost went pro. I was so fucking good at that game. I loved it. The fast pace, the sliding, the mechanics, the movement system. The movement had its own fucking meta, and the proper ways to get around fast, the proper ways to explore, the proper ways to, peek things, the optimal equipment. Just so many small things that made Apex great. Aside from its great crisp gunplay, it was such, and to be fair, it still is a very tight and fluid, fast, fun game. And let me clarify, I don't think every game needs to be updated every 3 days to add something new or some goofy skin or emote or some shit like that. But in Apex Legends' case, there was a lot of game breaking being a little exaggeratory. There were a lot of important bugs that weren't addressed for months and just existed in the game for a long time. The lobbies were really laggy, game would crash. It had a lot of issues that were not addressed, and they let it persist for way too long. That's why it started to stagnate and die. I just wanted to clarify. But Apex Legends absolutely deserves the 4th spot on this list. Moving on to number 3. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake redefines what it means to be a fucking remake. This game reinvented the word. For a while, remake or HD remaster meant fucking nothing. It meant maybe they improved the graphics very minimally, or they improved the look of a single box in level 4. But when Resident Evil 2 Remake came out, this is a fucking true remake. This game is visually stunning. It looks fantastic, so upgraded, so modern, so much fun. The game plays super great. And I'm one of the people that wasn't so personally attached to Resident Evil 2. There was no huge nostalgia for me. I'd played it, but it wasn't the best thing in the world to me. And when I heard they were remaking it, I didn't rip off my shirt and start twirling it over my head like I was at like a goddamn college football game or something. I was cautiously optimistic it'd be fun, but I was blown away. Completely stunned by how much effort went into it and how much I enjoyed it. The game was spectacular, and it makes me super excited for Resident Evil 3 Remake now. And I don't think I ever played Resident Evil 3. But anyway, great game. Can't recommend it enough. One of the most fun games of the year, which is obviously why it's on this list. I think all of the old school mechanics held up really well in the modern day, made it challenging, made it fun, kept you engaged, kept you on your toes, and really brought back that feeling of what it means to play a game that makes you think and a game that actually challenges you. It was a really fun experience. Moving on to number 2, the second best game of 2019, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Also, fun little trivia fact for those of you playing fucking Jeopardy or something at home. This is the second Respawn Entertainment game that makes the top 5 best games of the year list. Really impressive work from Respawn this year. Very talented people there. Jedi Fallen Order bangs. This game is incredible. Not only is the gameplay extremely fun and addicting, its story was extremely surprising. It was really well written, well constructed, paid very much respect to the Star Wars property and established canon. It didn't break any rules, didn't violate shit, didn't fuck any characters in the ass or do anything crazy. It was like what Star Wars Cinematic Universe could have been in terms of its writing. Should have fucking had Respawn Entertainment write the new movie. The story was a real highlight and a real shock. I was expecting the gameplay to be mediocre like Dark Souls Mobile. I thought it was just going to be a Dark Souls inspired clone that was really light on the challenge and light on the mechanics, but it wasn't. It was clearly inspired by Dark Souls and Sekiro, but it made it its own and had its own unique identity that worked really well with the force powers that you could integrate into the combat, and it felt very, very fun, rewarding. Some of the fights were extremely challenging, and I played on the highest difficulty, and that made it significantly more fun. It was always an absolute blast anytime you got in a boss battle with another lightsaber wielder, a Sith. The lightsaber battles and the boss battles were some of the highlights of all boss battles I had this year. This shit was visually beautiful. You had these like crazy choreographed, well, not choreographed obviously, but you had these crazy moves going on. You do this combo, they block it, fucking force push you, throw a rock at you, you dodge it off to the right, you fucking, it's had so much going on. That was such an orgasm for your eyes to behold in this arena of force showdown. I loved it. I absolutely loved Jedi Fallen Order. I loved everything about that game. And I was shocked to say that because I didn't think I'd ever like a Star Wars game to this level. But this was quite the surprise. The number one game of the year, I think, is going to be no surprise to anyone who knows me. It's Sekiro. I love Sekiro. I love Dark Souls games. I love Souls-like games. Neo is my favorite. And Sekiro is falling into that category, but with its own very unique personality to it. It has a very different mechanical style. The gameplay is wildly different from the other ones. It's almost, in a certain sense, a rhythm game about the right times to parry, blocking, when to strike, how many hits to get in there before you get the fuck out, before they punish you for it and block your shit and make you feel bad. It was just so nice. I also really loved all of the visuals. The setting I thought was just superb. I'm a sucker for that kind of setting anyway. But they had these really nice boss battles and set pieces, and I just loved it. Every single fight had you going in there on edge because you never knew how hard they were going to fuck you. You'd go into a room, you'd see a pretty tall enemy or something, you're like, yep, I got to clench my cheeks because I don't want to get fucked that hard. I'm down for a little ass pounding, but it needs to feel respectful, and it constantly happened. Every mini boss would give you a run for your money. There was no pushovers in this game, and I loved it from start to finish. The true ending final boss, the Sword Saint, was probably one of the toughest boss battles I've ever had, and that's quite the compliment because I usually steamroll these boss battles, being the kind of alpha omega gamer that I am. I never really struggle with that kind of shit, but the fucking Sword Saint was eating my lunch. He was just ripping my cock off for like 2 hours, I think it took me. I don't remember now, but it was a long one. Rode hard and put away wet by the end of that. It was just such a great game, and definitely one of the most memorable games I've played in years, to be honest. Loved it, top to bottom. Sekiro absolutely deserves the number one spot. Thanks for tuning into this year's Moisties. I'd recommend all 5 games on here if you haven't tried any of them out. And yeah, fuck yeah. The great game, a great year for gaming overall. I think the games were really great, and it was hard to pick 5. But these 5, I think, definitely shine the brightest. So yeah, that's it, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Moisties Best Games of 2019. See ya. Welcome back to the Moisties. This will be the final award we give out this year in the 2020 season. This is going to the 5 best video games of the year. This was an extremely competitive category this year. It was cutthroat competition because there were just a lot of bangers that came out this year. In previous years, you had millions of stinkers to choose from, some real garbage asshole dog shit games, but this year, most of the games that came out were pretty solid. It was extremely difficult to choose only 5 because there were so many great games to pick from. It led to fights at the Moist Meter headquarters. I'm talking bloodbath, bloody fights, tits, rock and roll, and gore all over the place as we were fighting amongst ourselves, trying to decide what 5 games deserved this spot. So, I think we finally settled on the correct decision here. So we'll start with number 5, Neo 2. Neo 2 is a game that again flew pretty under the radar, unfortunately, but I think it's a game that I think fans of Souls-like games can really appreciate. It takes that genre and expands it to a really high degree of depth and replayability. There are so many builds you can have in this game, it would blow your brain out of your asshole. There is so much to do, to find, to work towards in this game. You can constantly mix it up. Ninjutsu builds, giant axe build, naked spinning, great hammer build. Like, there's just so much fucking shit you can do with Nioh 2 and so much versatility that it will never get stale. It is always fresh. The game is extremely challenging until you start to make yourself beyond broken, and I love that they allow you to go there. You grind for gear, and there's so much different gear to grind for with all kinds of rolls on it. Set bonuses that help you cater to your build. You can mix and match different sets for different bonuses depending on how many of the same set you have. I could talk for hours about how much there is to do in Nioh 2. I absolutely love it. I love Nioh 1 and I love Nioh 2 just as much. I was very happy. It wasn't a disappointment. It really is just an extremely fun game to constantly min-max a broken, overpowered build. And I just can't sing the praises of Nioh 2 enough. I think it's a game series that gets overlooked all the time, but I don't think it deserves that because it really does just offer so much. And especially in a climate like today where everyone loves to grind for shit, this game has plenty to grind for to keep you coming back. And it's not like the grind is boring like Destiny 2. The grind in Nioh 2 is fun because the combat is so fucking fun. Being able to change stances and the mid combo and just go crazy with all kinds of DPS popping off. It's just wonderful. It really is. Now moving on to number 4, we have Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, I really liked. There were a few things I didn't like about it, like some of the quests I felt really kind of dragged and were a lot of just kind of going from point A to point B and doing the same things over and over, but it never detracted from my overall experience of the game. The combat was so fucking smooth. For a moment there, I thought I was transported back into the Bushido era and was going wild for the honor of my family. I felt like a fucking samurai. I felt like an absolute badass killing machine, peeling scalps off of foreheads with my blade, chopping people in half, ripping dicks off of enemies. Like, it felt incredible. The combat was absolutely marvelous. The stealth I didn't use all that much, but when I did, I actually still did kind of enjoy the stealth, and I'm not really the stealth kind of gamer. I typically prefer to enter my fights with a cigar in my mouth, clenching my blade, ready to rip the intestines out of a man's stomach. But when I did slow down the pace with stealth, I still enjoyed it. There's just a lot to enjoy when it comes to the combat, and it's not just an action game where it excels. It has a beautiful narrative. I loved the story, and it had one of my favorite conclusions of the year. I honestly cannot... I'm not going to spoil anything, of course, but I cannot be more satisfied with how this game wraps up and what you as the player get to decide. I think it was absolutely beautiful. Visually, the game was stunning. The narrative had me glued to it. You could even go out of your way to find some really cool ancient pieces of gear that had a cool narrative behind it and journey where you get to learn about somebody that had that in the past, and it feels good when you get it, and it makes your character much fucking stronger, and you get to change the way you play some of the combat a bit. There's just so much to like about the game. Yes, there were shortcomings, but it never detracted from my overall enjoyment of Ghost of Tsushima. Now moving on to number 3, we have Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2, one of the highest scores I've given on the Moist Meter this year, and for good reason. Risk of Rain 2 is so good. It's just so fucking good. I wasn't a fan of roguelikes until I played Risk of Rain 2. I went into Risk of Rain 2 telling the chat, hey, look, I'm not gonna like this game. I hope you guys know that right now, you fucking milk-drinking nerds forcing me to play Risk of Rain 2. I'm not gonna like it. I don't like roguelikes, and you can't change me. It's not a phase, Dad. I just don't like roguelikes. And then I hopped in Risk of Rain 2, and euphoria washed over me. My eyes had truly opened. I fucking fell in love with it. Risk of Rain 2 is such a fun game. There's so much to do. There's so many reasons to revisit Risk of Rain and change your shit around. Like, it is just so good. There's so fucking much to it. I put so many hours into this game for like a week. I probably put like fucking 50 hours and 8 days into this game. Just constantly going back, going for God runs, God rolls, just going fucking wild, dick out in hand, and ready to just take the world by storm. And when you finally do beat Risk of Rain's like main missions, now that keep in mind there is no like actually beating it, but when you do get through the final boss, oh my god, that feeling, indescribable. You have this really climactic boss battle that has so many moving parts to it. It's extremely challenging, really turns a boy into a man, complemented by a wonderful soundtrack that's just so intense. It's got you on the edge of your seat and you're feeling all these endorphins and all these hormones pumping throughout your body. It feels like you're going through puberty again during this boss fight. And then you finally beat it, and the payoff is all worth it. The struggle, you're rewarded, the achievement feels great, and the game is just so good. Risk of Rain 2, I think, is definitely one of the best roguelikes out there. So fun. And I think what the best part about Risk of Rain 2 is the diversity of the characters you can play as. In other roguelikes, the only thing that changes is some of the weapons, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. But in Risk of Rain 2, the entire gameplay dynamic changes depending on what character you pick. You can be a robot fucking swinging around like it's Attack on Titan and then fisting the enemies with like a charged turbo fist from across the map. You can fly across the map by charging your fist and just flying through the air. You can play as a little reptile spitting acid. Like, there's just a lot. You can play as a little robot shooting nails. Like, there's just so much that changes depending on the character you pick, which changes the whole game as a result. And I think that's the best part about it, really. And now we move on to number 2, Doom Eternal. I love Doom Eternal. That's no secret. During the Game Awards, I was pulling very hard for Doom Eternal, where it was robbed of multiple categories. The most criminal robbery I've ever seen was it not winning the best soundtrack of the year. I don't think it won that category. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The soundtrack in Doom Eternal from Mick Gordon, second to none. There's no equal. I don't even understand where the argument was. Yeah, Hades has a wonderful score as well, but it's got nothing on Mick Gordon and his masterpiece in the Doom Eternal soundtrack. Like, I don't know what was going on with that, but again, this isn't to just cry about the Game Awards. It's here to talk about why Doom Eternal is so good. Well, first, like I mentioned, that soundtrack absolutely bangs. It's going to really make you feel like a big, strong man ready to just blast the titties off of demons. And the gameplay. The gameplay in Doom Eternal is like no other games out there. It is fast-paced with a focus on skill-based combat FPS gameplay. Most FPSs are all about like playing slow and hiding behind cover, tossing a grenade over, yippee, aiming down sights to line up a shot and shoot a guy 2 times for him to die. Doom Eternal, none of that shit works. You are constantly moving around, picking up armor off the ground, switching weapons like a fucking madman depending on what you're fighting and how much ammo you have. And you're just going through tons of different weapons, primary, secondary fire, mixing and matching. You're throwing grenades to freeze some of the snakes, using the chainsaw to chainsaw enemies in half to get ammo and health and shield out of them. Oh my god, it's just chaotic. But it's controlled chaos, and it's all about how skilled you are at playing fast and playing in control. I played most of the game on Nightmare, and man, it was punishing. I had never been spanked so hard sometimes, but when I finally did squeak out the dubski over the room that I was struggling in, it felt amazing. It is just so fun. So many different demons and so many different ways of fighting them that you're going to constantly be banging your head against the wall sometimes, but in a good way. You'll be enjoying it for the most part. It's hard not to like the gameplay, I feel. You're just dashing around the map, shooting demons and blowing shit up. And you finally get to play fast and feel like a badass. And the game's narrative is cool too. I like the whole thing with demons and having to stop demons, and you're some like ultra-powered super Chad that's the only one capable of stopping the demons. I love that shit. It's just so much fun. I absolutely love Doom Eternal. I really do. And now you're probably asking yourself, how the fuck did Doom Eternal not win with all of these compliments you're tossing its way? And it's because we're giving the number 1 spot to Hades. Hades is another roguelite, but is yet again a completely different kind of roguelite that I think innovates in a lot of ways. The main thing I was super impressed with Hades was the depth of its story. There's a lot of writing to Hades. The gameplay is, of course, great, and we'll get into that in a moment, but one thing that really caught me by surprise was how invested I got in the characters of the world. Every character you talk to, you're going to be talking to a lot of them, has a very interesting contribution to make to the overall lore of the universe and their connection to your main protagonist. And it's always interesting to talk to them. You can even gift them nectar to learn more about them and be more friendly with them. And gifting them nectar also gets you special items that you can take into the rooms with you, the different levels. And there's just so much depth to it. And the narrative is what really caught me off guard, because I was expecting to just go in there and just pound some ass cheeks, going wild with some cool builds. And of course you can do that. But as you're doing it, you're getting a lot of information and exposition along the way that you can really appreciate if you stop and listen to it. And the characters, I think, aesthetically are great. I think the game's art design is fucking beautiful. And the game is all about escaping from hell and trying to find your mother, and along the way you're going to be dying a lot. You're going to be dying a fucking ton before you finally make your first successful escape. But every death you're learning, not only getting better at the game, but you're learning more about the characters. You're getting more information from them. Every death contributes to the narrative, and it's really cool. And it's really interesting and different. And then you get to the gameplay. The gameplay is so good. You're getting boons from the gods that are trying to help you escape from Olympus, and they're giving you all kinds of different abilities that completely change the way you're going to approach getting out of hell. You know, you can go into Hades using a shield. And there's different kinds of shields you can use as you continue to upgrade. I believe the strongest to be the Chaos Shield, where you charge across the map, blocking things and then firing out your shield to do a ton of damage. And as you're collecting these boons, you can change the way you approach those things. Like maybe all of a sudden you're getting some Athena boons where you can deflect things, which is of course probably the best one in the game. And you dash and you're deflecting. So you can kind of change your builds based on the boons you're getting. And it's just, I don't know, I can't really say enough about how good the combat is. I think it's something you really have to play to appreciate the depth. It's just so rewarding. And I just love how each escape is different and you constantly can change the way that you try and get out of hell based on the random boons that you're getting along the way. There's just so much to like about Hades. I really do think it deserves the Game of the Year from the Moisties 2020. I think it absolutely earns the #1 slot on this list. Even though I love Doom Eternal, I do believe Hades is probably just the better game, and a game that I think even more people could appreciate. It's great. I absolutely loved it, and I do encourage anyone curious to give it a try. So that concludes the Moisties for 2020. These were the 5 best games of the year. And there, like I said, it was really tough to choose these 5 because there was quite a few other games that I really fucking loved, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost Runner. Like there were a lot of other games that it made it really tough to come up with this list, but I am happy with these 5 games being on here. So yeah, that's about it. Game of the Year: Stray, Xenoblade, Horizon, Ragnarok, Elden Ring, Plague Tale. So I really like Stray. That has no chance. Didn't play Xenoblade 3. I know it has a really very enthusiastic community on Twitter who very much doesn't like Donkey. Plague Tale I still haven't finished, but I really like Plague Tale. And Horizon I also didn't finish, but I do enjoy it. I haven't picked it up because unfortunately this came out right before Elden Ring, which was actually just suicide. That was Horizon Forbidden West getting fed a bullet right to the brain. Absolutely terrible release time for that game. I love Ragnarok and I love Elden Ring. Like I said, I think Elden Ring is just so close to the perfect game. I have to give it to Elden Ring. I think God of War overall is like a cleaner experience though, overall, and just a genuine masterpiece, but I'm going Elden Ring for this. Elden Ring is just the culmination of everything they learned from all of the Souls games put into one amazing package. Best game direction. What is Immortality? So Stray, God of War, Elden Ring. This one I think God of War's got for sure. I think God of War wins this 10 out of 10 times here. They ruined Kratos. I've seen that from a couple people on Twitter, and I think it's the most brain-dead shit ever. I think what they did with Kratos' character is beyond smart and masterfully crafted. They took a character whom we've grown up with, angry, mad, always alone, hateful, everything. And they transformed him and humanized him and made him like atone every step of the way in a way that felt natural and earned. So even something as simple as a smile, his first canon smile in this game, was enough to elicit like an emotional response from me. Because it actually felt earned. Like, I think they did an incredible job with his character. As opposed to just make him one-dimensional and flat, they fleshed out a fucking Giga Chad. So good. And every line he has is great. I still think about that "death can have me when it earns me" line. Like, his shit is profound. To a point where I don't think he's, like, smart, but, like, he's not a dumb, stupid caveman like he was in God of War 1 through 3. Even though, of course, I am a huge fan of the original trilogy. Especially 3. I think 3 is still the most hype in the entire series. But I think Ragnarok is the best overall. Best narrative. Oh, I mean, this is God of War. This is God of War landslide. I don't even need to look at the other ones, honestly. I do like Plague Tale, but that's God of War. That's just absolutely God of War all fucking day. Best art direction. I really like Scorn's art direction. I don't like the game overall. I think the game is remarkably disappointing. I think the combat is terrible. They should have just not even bothered putting the gunplay in there because it's an affront to God. That shit is criminal how awful the gunplay is. They should have just made it all puzzles and exploration because the atmosphere is great. The art direction is amazing. I just don't know if it's better. I am very much considering Stray too, but I don't know. I'm really on the fence. Stray, I feel like I've seen that style done quite a few times before. Scorn, there is nothing else like it. It's very unique. It has a distinct identity. That H.R. Geiger is really slapping. I actually think I will give this one to Scorn. I just wish the game itself was better. I think Scorn wins it. I think Scorn earns it, to be honest. I can't think of another game that looks even remotely similar to Scorn. That's got to be worth something, how unique it was and what they carved out with it. Best score in music, it's absolutely criminal that Sonic Frontiers isn't here. I'm not even memeing. The OST for Sonic Frontiers, it goes so hard. It actually pops off. I can't believe that's not here. It would have been a shoe-in for me. Didn't play Neon White, couldn't opine there. Maybe Neon White slaps too, but man, the fact that Sonic got snubbed here, like, I would be an angry Sonic fan on Twitter right now. They overlooked it. What a shame. So in the absence of Sonic, it's either God of War or Metal Hellsinger for me. I love the score to God of War. I think I'm going to give it to God of War. God of War's score is just so good. Didn't play Gran Turismo 7. I can't even consider Horizon Forbidden West since I didn't finish it. COD. Yeah, I don't think it's going to COD. I don't recall the campaign having great in-game audio and sound design off the top of my head. The voice acting and shit was good, but I don't think that's going to be sound design. One earbud only. Yeah, maybe I missed a lot of it. People really seem to think COD should win this one. Yeah, Elden Ring shouldn't be here. I don't know why they even put Elden Ring here for in-game audio and sound design. There's nothing like super special there. I agree with you there. It's between Call of Duty and God of War, but the only reason I'm considering Call of Duty is because chat really seems to think that campaign had crazy audio design, whereas I personally don't remember it super well. So I'm just gonna. This feels so unfair with how much I'm just putting onto Ragnarok, but really in every measurable aspect, I find the game to be amazing. I maybe one of these two earns it more, but I haven't played this one and I haven't finished this one. So I'm just going to give it to God of War Ragnarok again. Best performance. This is this is so fucking silly. It's going to be all God of War Ragnarok. Oh, it's actually just going to be all God of War fucking Ragnarok. How can you ever go against Christopher Judge in this category? Like even his picture here is so sweet. Like, he just looks like such a nice, kindred soul. Like, just so wholesome. You would never expect his voice to be so commanding and fucking sultry. It's Christopher Judge, obviously. Games for Impact. I don't know any of these. I'll toss it to whatever I think has the best cover, and it's Citizen Sleeper. Best ongoing. Oh. Genshin, Fortnite, Final Fantasy, Destiny, and Apex. I know all these. I play all these. Well, not actively. I have played all these. I feel like it should probably be Final Fantasy 14. They do a really great job with player feedback from what I understand in that game. One of the few that takes it into consideration like Final Fantasy. Remember when Final Fantasy 14 popped off so hard they literally ran out of keys? God, that's adorable. I think the bet here is Final Fantasy 14. I'm interpreting this as like ongoing support based on community, like support the community actually wants as opposed to bad updates no one's asking for. And I don't think Final Fantasy is disappointing in that regard, so I'm giving it to Final Fantasy. Best indie. Haven't played Cult of Lamb, heard great things. Haven't played Neon White, heard amazing things. Love Sifu, love Stray, haven't played Tunic. This is tough. I really like both Sifu and Stray. Like, I love the ass beating of Sifu, but I also really liked just the world and story of Stray. It was so cute. Fuck, I can't decide. My gut's saying Stray. I think I'm gonna have to go with Stray here. Maybe now my cold heart's just been warmed up since I have a cat now. Maybe old Charlie would have given it to Sifu back when I was still the hairy-chested, grizzled muscle man. But now I'm a cat owner. Probably suffering from toxoplasmosis. Haven't played Apex Mobile, haven't played Diablo Immortal. I think Genshin's good. I haven't got super into Marvel Snap yet, but from what I've played, I've liked it so far. And Tower of Fantasy was good. It's between those three. But I wouldn't say I'm like a power player of either of these three. Genshin's community would probably eat me alive, though, if I didn't vote for it here. Like, in between posting porn, they just start attacking people, so I'll just play it safe and do Genshin. Best community support. For outstanding community support, transparent... Oh, so this is the category that I thought ongoing support was. I probably still would have given it to Final Fantasy anyway. This one's obviously Final Fantasy, I think. Innovation and accessibility. Oh, a lot of people are saying No Man's Sky. I know No Man's Sky turned it around recently, but do they have, like, ongoing community support? That would be news to me. I'm just not familiar enough with that. At least I'm moderately familiar with Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know this one. The Quarry was enjoyably bad. Like, it was fun, silly bad. I don't know about its accessibility. God of War forces an accessibility mode on you with non-stop backseat gaming. That's quite innovative and extremely frustrating. Don't know what they did for Last of Us Part 1, and I didn't play Return to Monkey Island. Guess The Last of Us. Did they do any... I'll just take your word for it. I'll do The Last of Us. I see a lot of people are saying it did a lot, so I'll do Last of Us. Best VR/AR. Well, I haven't played any of these except Bone Lab. And I've only played like 15 seconds of Bone Lab. Among Us is going to win. I don't even know what the point is in even voting for anything else. Among Us is just going to sweep. I'll just give it to Among Us. Best action game. Okay, here we go. Things are getting a little wacky. Bayonetta 3, Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Was this a rough year for action games or something? Bayonetta and Sifu are the only two I think should be here. Isn't there a category for shooters? Why is Call of Duty here? I think the answer is Bayonetta 3. I love Bayonetta 3. I think it's definitely better than Sifu. I like Sifu a lot, but Bayonetta 3 is much better. And I haven't played Neon White to be able to give a full opinion there, but people love that game. And I don't know anything about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I think this one's Bayonetta 3 all day. Best action adventure. I mean, God of War. It's obvious. Best role-playing. Isn't that crazy? Arceus came out this year, and we just got Scarlet and Violet. That is still just so fucking wild to me. I mean, obviously Elden Ring, though. These are just kind of redundant categories. Best fighting game. Sifu. Why is Sifu here? Did we not have 5 fighting games that came out this year? Clearly not, because they dropped in the new JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game, a game that literally doesn't even work on Steam right now. One of the few games I had to refund after trying it. Like, I'm sure this game had potential to be good, but it is in a fucking awful state. At least when I played it on launch. This one's Multiversus for me, though. I like Multiversus. Kirby was fun. Skywalker Saga was fine. Didn't play this. Only played like a little of this and barely played any of this. The only one that I actually put like meaningful time into was Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I liked Kirby. It was cute. I'm gonna give that to Kirby. That shit was so wholesome. Best Sim strategy game. I didn't play any strategy games this year. Uh, I might just give it to Total War because I like Total War. Best sports and racing. Well, I didn't play any of those this year. Well, actually, that's not true. I did play NBA 2K 2023. Charles White came out of retirement. 5'7" Charles White, superstar. Give it to Gran Turismo, please. Sure. I mean, it's not like NBA deserves it. I mean, 2K is fucking awful. It's so lazy and so scummy. Best multiplayer. Modern Warfare, Multiversus, Overwatch, Splatoon, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Actually, a tough category for me. Modern Warfare 2 is like super relaxed and casual, and like I do enjoy it despite some of its problems. Multiversus, same. Very fun to kick back, casual, clap cheeks. Overwatch 2, also same. In fact, of all of these games here, I've put the most time into Overwatch 2. And I like it, in spite of its problems. Do I think it's the best multiplayer game right now? Tough to say. I think probably Modern Warfare 2. But that... In order to feel comfortable giving my vote to Modern Warfare 2, they need to promise me they're going to fire whoever designed their UI. Their new UI is absolutely awful. It's miserable, and whoever made it needs to be let go of this company like today. I'm already kind of regretting it. Because I feel like I've been having more fun with Overwatch 2 than Modern Warfare 2. Whatever. I've already locked it in. No point in crying over spilled milk now. Content Creator of the Year. So I chat was really mad. I don't know Nibelian. I'm just unfamiliar with their work. I'm not familiar with Nobrew. So we got Carl, Ludd, and QT Cinderella. I think we all know where I'm going. I don't even need to explain. We already know. Best debut indie. Well, I mean this is again kind of redundant. It's Stray. Best adaptation. Ooh, this is hype. Wait, this is actually super hype. I didn't see the Cuphead show. I don't even know why Uncharted's here. Like, it's a fine movie, I guess, but super forgettable, super generic, nothing special. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, movie kind of goes in. But Edgerunners and Arcane, that is so tough. Like, an actual difficult category to choose. That is genuinely difficult. I don't know, man. Fuck. They're so drastically different from each other, too. There's a blue pube hairs, tits, nipples, blood, gore. This is much more, like, safe for anyone to watch. And they're both so good. They're both so fucking good. They couldn't be more different. Oh my god. This is the biggest divide since my left and right butt cheek. I don't know where to go. I am really caught in this conundrum. I think I'm leaning towards Arcane. I think I'm going Arcane. Final answer. I think what Arcane did was so incredibly special. I think I'm doing Arcane. I'm doing it. I can't look back now. Most anticipated game? It's between Resident Evil 4 and Zelda. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, but I'm not coming in with like major expectations here. I think for me personally, it's going to be Zelda. I like the Resident Evil remakes. I think they do a great job with it, even though 3 was only like 2 hours long, but Zelda's significantly more anticipated for me. Best esports game. Oh, this one's actually tough for me too. I've been getting really hard into CS:GO again. Like, CS:GO has been so fucking hype. I didn't keep up with Dota this year. I didn't keep up with League much this year. Valorant died for me with franchising, so I didn't even bother. So it's between Rocket League and Counter-Strike. Rocket League, obviously, I've been extremely passionate about because of Moist Esports. In fact, I flew for the first time in 6 years because of Rocket League to go to the RLCS World Championship for Moist Esports. It's Rocket League. It's Rocket League for me. I am a big fan of Counter-Strike, but it's Rocket League. Best esports athlete? Oh, this one's pretty good too. Simple or Faker? Fuck. That's tough for me. I really liked Simple at the most recent major. I liked that he leaned into being the villain. Maybe a bit far with giving the finger. Fair. I know a lot of people are mad about that, but I still think that's fine. I think every game needs a villain. Like, I think it makes it a lot more fun with the storylines. I love when he stood up, put his hands on his ears, get leading into it. I love that attitude. And I've always been a big Simple fan. But Faker, bro. Faker is just iconic. Oh, it's so hard. I'll let chat vote on it, actually. Can you just run like a 60-second poll for Simple or Faker? I won't put this one on me. Not on my conscience. I'll let chat decide it. Okay, Faker won. That one's off my conscience. That's on you guys if you're gonna get mad about it. That's a chat decision. Thanks to Resub Ruxman. Best esports team. Moist Esports got snubbed this year. Unlucky. I'll give it to Dark Zero. Score easily. Okay. One guy said score easily, so I'm fine with that. Best esports event. Evo. But it was really lame not having Smash at Evo. Like, I still think Evo was great this year, but not having Smash was fucking stupid. Worlds also had an incredible storyline. No, definitely not Valorant. I didn't, like I said, I lost interest once the franchising thing came out. In fact, this trophy even celebrates it. Just this volcanic eruption of dog shit with the franchising decision. It's fucking dumb. I think I'm gonna go Evo. I watched a lot of Evo this year, and I really liked it. We're doing Evo. And we did well at Evo, Moist Esports. Alright, I got all my votes in. So let's move on to 2023's best game. This is a really interesting one for me because, objectively speaking, I think 2023's best game is Baldur's Gate. I agree with the Game Awards, it is Game of the Year. I think no matter how you spin it, what Baldur's Gate did is nothing shy of a masterpiece. Like an actual generational achievement with what Baldur's Gate 3 was able to produce here. But for me personally, the game I had the most fun with in 2023 was actually Tears of the Kingdom. So Tears of the Kingdom is basically just Breath of the Wild again, but with everything improved. It's a better Breath of the Wild, and I already fucking loved Breath of the Wild. As I said in my voice meter for Tears of the Kingdom, the only thing that holds this game back is the platform that it's on. The Nintendo Switch is so embarrassingly weak and wimpy that Tears of the Kingdom I don't think could reach its full glory and full potential. But even in spite of that, it created one of the most memorable gaming experiences I've had in 2023. You could get so creative with everything. You truly had unlimited freedom with the new mechanics it offered, with being able to build pretty much anything you could imagine. Like, I still remember all the viral videos of people making fucking Gundams, like working Gundams in Tears of the Kingdom. It offered so much creative expression. Like, you could solve all kinds of puzzles in a million different ways. There was never one right way of playing the game, and I loved that about Tears of the Kingdom. I still remember how long I spent researching and theory crafting different intricate traps I could use to kill mobs in the game. It's just so fun. Like, I do think it's probably the most fun Zelda game they've made so far. Again, my main gripe is just the limitations of the Switch, really. Also, I did criticize the writing a bit, but that's not the focal point of the game. Plus, the writing did always end up getting you to a spectacular cinematic moment, so I could excuse some silly, repeated moments throughout the story. Overall, I just think Tears of the Kingdom was the most fun I had with a single game in 2023. But as I mentioned, I do think Baldur's Gate 3 is the deserved game of the year in from an objective technical standpoint, perhaps. But for me personally, my 2023 game of the year was Tears of the Kingdom. So if you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 or Tears of the Kingdom, you can't go wrong with either one or both. They're both extraordinary, and honestly, 2023 was an incredible year for gaming in general. I know I said I'm not doing a top 5, but I'm also going to quickly shout out Alan Wake 2. I waited so long for Alan Wake 2, and I was not disappointed. I think Alan Wake 2 is another absolute fucking banger of a game. So, yeah, that's the best game and the best movie of 2023 in my opinion. And yeah, that's really about it. Yeah. All right, let's cast some votes. I am very upset, very upset that there is no Nine Souls nomination. That better win like Player's Voice, because that game is actually one of the best games that came out this year. Panel of experts, my ass. Panel of fucking frauds. No Nine Souls. Concord got snubbed. True, no Concord either. What is this world coming to? Power World didn't get any either. Oh, that's true. I didn't even notice. You're right. I was too fixated on Nine Souls. No Power World nomination. That could have absolutely been multiplayer. In fact, I think that probably should have been multiplayer. Maybe they were afraid of Nintendo. we can't nominate this, guys. Nintendo's suing them. We don't want them on our ass. Thoughts on Erdtree getting nominated? That I'm a little disappointed by. I think that slot could have gone to a different game. I think you could just keep DLC in something else. Unless it's like a DLC that completely changes the game. Which does happen sometimes, but Erdtree is not a DLC that changed the game. It just delivered more of the game everyone already really likes. And the website is really chugging along. My game of the year is still Black Myth Wukong. Go next. Game direction, though, is pretty tough. I'll go ahead and give game direction to Metaphor, I think. I'll let it rip. It probably deserves that. I mean, I like Silent Hill. Like, I thought it had a very good story. Obviously, it's like one of the most iconic in horror. Didn't really like Hellblade 2. Was not feeling it. Didn't play Infinite Wealth. Did not get into Rebirth. I liked Remake better. So it's probably just got to be Metaphor. I'll give it to Silent Hill since I didn't play it. Maybe I'll be disappointed by the story, same as I was with Rebirth. But I think this easily wins the category. I love the design of Wukong. I think they did so well. It's gotta be Wukong. God, I'm glazing the shit out of the game, but it's just super good. Best score in music, that's Stellar Blade all day. Stellar Blade absolutely went hog wild there. That category was made for Stellar Blade. Didn't play Life is Strange, did not like Star Wars Outlaws at all. So for me, it's between Silent Hill and Hellblade. I think it's gotta be Hellblade. Like, even though I didn't like the game, it'd be very silly to think that Silent Hill had a more inspired performance than Hellblade. It's gotta be. It's fucking gotta be Hellblade. It's on performance, not game overall. Exactly. So even though I didn't really like the game, it's pretty easy to recognize the amount of work and the incredible performance that she had in Hellblade. It's not like I think Luke did a bad job in Silent Hill 2. I think he did a really good job, but I don't think it's as good as what she was doing here. Even though I like this game much, much more. I don't know any of the accessibility features in here. I'll give it to Prince of Persia Lost Crown just because it's the best game in the list. I'm going to give this to Helldivers, though. Out of these, Helldivers was the one I put the most time into this year for ongoing. Honestly, maybe Baldur's Gate 3. They still give that game so much tender love and care, it's crazy. Either Baldur's Gate 3 or No Man's Sky, because they keep, both of these games, keep getting so much fucking support. Best independent game. This is where Nine Souls should be. Like, I agree Animal Well, Balatro, and UFO 50 should be here. I haven't played Neva, and I have no clue what Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is. I have no idea what that is. Nine Souls should be here. But, I mean, as the category stands right now, this is just a full-blown Balatro. It's going to be back-to-back Balatro because it was also their first game. They just actually struck gold right away. Animal Well. I like Animal Well, but it can't beat Balatro. Oh no! Your votes were too accurate. You've been banned. Your taste was too exquisite. No! I haven't played any of these. The only one I've seen being played is Arkham Shadow, because Chase was playing it at the warehouse. It looked really good, so I'm voting based on that. I really want Warhammer Space Marine 2 to win a category, but they put Wukong in the action game, obviously, and Wukong's my game of the year. It would be nonsensical to choose Space Marine 2 for best action game over Wukong. It is more action. Oh, you're right, actually. Maybe that's how I could justify it. Warhammer Space Marine 2 does have more action. More enemies on screen, thus more action. I have to give something to Space Marine 2. I'll give it that. Wukong's still my game of the year, but I fucking love Space Marine 2 so much. Action adventure. I don't know why you put Star Wars Outlaws in here unless you wanted us to just laugh at you for that. This one's definitely Astrobot. I fucking loved Astrobot. I really like Silent Hill 2 as well, but Astrobot takes that for me, baby. RPG. Don't know why you put Dragon's Dogma 2 in here. That game actually didn't even work on launch. I couldn't play it. I literally could not play that game. And I refuse to go back and play it now that it's fixed because you should have just released it in a functional state in the beginning. Metaphor is going to win this. There's no world Metaphor doesn't win best RPG. I guess it's possible Rebirth could squeak it out. But here, I'll give it to Metaphor. I already know I'm really going to like the game. I just haven't had time to sit down and play it because it's like a fucking 200-hour game. Best fighting game. I like Sparking Zero a lot. Multiversus was much better in beta. It's Tekken 8. Not close. Best family game. See, this is one where I think Jamboree can win. I like Jamboree. I played it with my friends like a week ago and we had a really good time. But I don't know. I just feel like Astrobot is just like the actual much better game. But maybe families would bond more over Jamboree. I'll give it to Jamboree. Fuck it. No Weed Shop titles. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know how Weed Shop didn't make it for Simulator. Best adaptation. Arcane. I'm still 2 episodes behind on Season 2 for Arcane, but it's very good. I did really like Fallout, but Arcane is just better. No, they did a great job with the Fallout show. I'm very excited for the next season. Most anticipated game. This is just the Grand Theft Auto 6 category. Don't even know why why we bothered. Best content creator. That's Queso all day. Queso's in another league right now. Oh, speaking of League, this is absolutely going to be League. I already know they're winning this category because of how crazy Worlds was this year. Personally, I would have probably given it to Counter-Strike here, so I will. But I know League's winning it. Best esports athlete. This is just, again, this is Faker. Like you can't beat the GOAT. Fucking 5-time world champion. He does it again. Built different. Actual fucking cyborg deity. And T1 for the world's win. That's just a wrap. Those 2 categories were so fucking cooked. Alright. The votes have been cast. I let my voice be heard. What games do you think will be announced at the Game Awards? If you want like some moonshot predictions, I'll go ahead and put them out there. I think there is a non-zero chance Hollow Knight Silksong gets some kind of information. That's my big moonshot. I think they might finally have a little something from Hollow Knight Silksong. That's my Hail Mary cope. Silksong never coming out. Time to accept it and move on. I have. I'm the one who's been saying that. I'm pretty confident that we might never see it. But I'm just saying that's like my moonshot one because there is a chance that they do. So does that mean there's a non-zero chance Bloodborne remake is announced? Why are we comparing the two? How is a Hollow Knight Silksong trailer or information even comparable to Bloodborne Hopium? Those are those are totally different kaijus. Bloodborne is never... Sony has made it clear. Bloodborne will rot and fester and die forever. But Hollow Knight Silksong is actively being worked on, supposedly. Like, fucking Phil Spencer went out there and said, Hollow Knight Silksong. And he had the trailer. Everything you just saw comes out within a year. And it didn't. But it is there. There is something. There is nothing for Bloodborne Remake. Or Bloodborne 2. So, there is much more of a chance of Hollow Knight Silksong. We can't even compare those. You trust Phil Spencer? Well, no. All I'm saying is, there was trailer. There is a trailer. There is gameplay of Hollow Knight Silksong. Obviously, the game didn't come out within a year. That was 2 years ago. But there is nothing for Bloodborne Remake. There is nothing for Bloodborne 2. The only thing we have that even mentions Bloodborne is the creator going, yeah, I mean, it's up to Sony. We can't do anything. We'd love to. Yes, Moki won last night. I went fucking crazy. I was watching it. Moki was doing so well. He played so hot.